Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Aura Vasquez, and welcome to Aura's virtual town hall meeting. I have the pleasure to be in the company of a really good friend, amazing comedian, and actually former candidate for presidential candidate too. Hi, Ben. How are you doing?
How are you? Good
I'm
to see
doing
you.
good. I haven't seen you in a few, I think in a few months since before the pandemic. How is the pandemic treating you?
It has been very interesting. I've started a big business. I have been doing shows from home. I've been adjusting to life. Normally, I'm a road traveling comedian. I travel everywhere constantly, and now I've been on lockdown in one place for about 7 months or something. It's been wild.
Wow. But
But
I
I got
seen
this
you.
guy, so I'm good.
I seen you really active doing your comedy virtually, which I love that you've been able to adapt, and that's super important right now.
Thank you. Yeah, we had nothing to do. Myself and all my comedian friends lost our ability to tour, lost
Yeah.
our ability to make money when the whole planet lost its ability to see live entertainment.
Uh-huh.
And so I didn't take it lying down. I created with a friend of mine, Steve Hofstetter, the world's first digital comedy club. It's called the Nowhere Comedy Club. And we put on top-notch professional shows that you would pay big bucks to go see out in person through Zoom, and we produce them beautifully and have showroom managers and music and vibes and headliner, host, feature, the full show. And so you can get tickets to nowherecomedyclub.com and you can see all your favorite comics, not just me, but I am doing one this Saturday.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna definitely check you out. I know that right now we're broadcasting on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. I think even on Hinge, which it makes me feel that I'm so hip.
Are we on Hinge right now?
I think we're on Hinge too.
I didn't know you could live stream on Hinge. This
Oh
is my
no,
first
wait,
time on Hinge.
sorry. On Twitch. I
Oh,
get it
that
all
makes more sense.
confused.
Hinge
I
is
get
a
it all
dating
confused.
app. My girlfriend would not love me live streaming on Hinge.
I don't know if they allow you to stream on dating apps. So good call. Good catch. Good catch. Well, I also want to let people know that on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, also Justin Gonzalez is joining us, and he will be joining Instagram in just a few minutes. So also thank you and welcome for joining us. But let's talk about voting. So first, how important is for us to vote in November?
I personally don't think it's that important because nothing's on the line. It's not like anything's going bad. It's just like whatever. Everything's fine. Democracy, no democracy, whatever.
Yeah, who cares? Well, maybe the better question here for the audience and the people that the people that are watching. I want to see you posting maybe some hearts or some fist up or whatever emoji that you like in whichever fashion that you like it. If you are part of the fuck Trump campaign, if you're part of that, please let us know because we wanted to create this space to go over our ballots and to make sure that you are voting this November.
Fump it up. Fump it up. Let's combine the words. Fump that guy.
Exactly. I mean, there is so much at stake right now on whether if you are an immigrant, this is definitely the election for you because I mean we've seen the most attacks to immigrants, especially immigrants that are essential workers. The people now in California, amidst the fires that have been working, growing our food, taking care of our children. So if you care for those folks, please make sure that you cast your vote.
It's very important. It's very important. My girlfriend is not an immigrant, but well, she is. She is an immigrant. She was not born here. And she is a dental hygienist and is risking herself every day to treat people and take care of their dental needs. And it's a very high aerosol job. She's working in people's mouths, quite literally. So please vote for the people that are risking themselves and to provide services to you. Don't flout this pandemic. It's very, very serious. You can catch it very easily. Even the guy that said it was fake caught it, if you didn't hear that in the news. And so please vote. Make sure that we vote for a future of leaders that care about science, believe in science, believe that's a real thing, believes the science knows. If you heard Trump said he doesn't think the science knows until it said, fuck you, I am the science. It's like Science came at him like Walter White. I am the one who knocks. I am the one with the beakers, bitch. I know. Okay. And infected his bloated ass real quick. So let's get people in power that actually believe in facts, words that matter, science,
all of these things. And
all
I mean, I know that folks on Instagram cannot see Justin Gonzalez, who is an LGBTQ advocate, and he has worked for the city and a lot of other things. So I hope that you, Ben, can be a little bit of his voice on Instagram, but he can actually speak on Facebook.
Sure, I can repeat what he says.
Yeah, that part is confusing for me. I'm like, only some of the audience can hear me, or
we're really challenging all technology here, so
we really are
trying to adapt.
Luckily, so far, I there's nothing I have to share, but he's trying to adapt.
It's a really important election. In a bit of seriousness, the 200,000 plus lives that have been lost, the almost 7.5 million people infected. I had COVID. I survived COVID, mild symptoms. Very thankful for that. Very privileged for that.
Yep.
I did not have
COVID too.
Yeah, I did not have world-class medicine and experimental medications to take if it was any worse. So I think this is a really critical election, just to have like a empathetic human being in the White House. I don't know. Just some shred of humanity.
That would be nice.
Well, and also, I mean, we also are electing folks locally. I mean, in my district, I just ran for city council. My name would be on the ballot right now if I would have made it. But local folks can decide the fate of our homelessness issues, for example. And I feel like a lot of folks that now when we go out, we see so many people really struggling living in the streets. I feel like this is the most unsheltered population that I have seen in Los Angeles ever since I have been living here. So it's so important. And there are so many measures that can also mitigate and help really reduce the effects of people living in the streets. And I know that some of them don't seem very correlated, but actually they're very correlated.
Well, that's true. I mean, we are voting on the things that fund exactly how our world's going to look. And people too often think that the elections only matter on the national level, but they matter maybe even more on the local level. That's something that took me a long time to learn. You have to vote up and down the ballot. You have to vote to fund the solutions to the problems you have. Otherwise, that's why you'll stop walking around being like, why are there so many homeless people? Because you're not funding the right things, because you're not caring about the solutions. You're not putting your vote where your mouth is. It's very important. You have to vote for your school board. You know that school boards control $600 billion a year nationally. They literally decide where our resources go, where our future is pushed. And so we have to step up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I just want to ask folks in the audience, this is a participatory kind of live stream. We're just helping you. We're being a catalyst. We're being alchemists. We're basically helping you cook this recipe so that you can send it. And we want to make sure that you have what you need in terms of how to fill out your ballot. But
got mine right here.
There you go. So how many of you in the audience, and please feel free to post this in the comments, how many of you have received your mail ballot? Because I tested this out in my local next door. Lord help me. And and a lot of people said they have not gotten their ballot. And other people said that they got a text message when they got their ballot. And other people said, I signed up for the text message and I didn't get a text message when I got to the ballot. Okay, so some folks are saying here, I have not gotten the ballot. Where is my ballot? And I think I have some pointers here, but let us know if you already got your mail ballot.
I got my sticker. Look at this.
There you go. You got your sticker.
I will not put it on until I actually complete this ballot.
Please don't be that person either. Wearing the sticker without voting. That is not right.
That is some weird.
Is that a fraud thing? Is that
is a big time fraud thing. And also, what a weird front to do. That's a weird fronting skills to be trying to front in a community that respects civic engagement, but you also aren't doing it. It's weird. Voting is easy. Just vote and then put the damn sticker on.
Don't front on that, please. And we have some folks in the audience saying that they have received their mail ballots. So that's
Carolina
awesome.
Arroyo received hers. I love that.
Yeah. So let us know if you received it on time. I think in California, we've been really good at getting our mail-in ballots. So now I want to just ask you too about the myths of voting and all this controversy about dropping off your ballot on the, taking it to the UPS or to the there are some drop boxes that is special drop boxes for your ballot. So what is your take, guys, between I'm gonna go vote in person? Like I got some comments on my earlier on a post saying, oh no, I'm only gonna go in person, and I don't even know if that's gonna be possible in California. Is that gonna be possible?
It'll be possible to go in person. And I think that people should, if they can, I think people should try to brave the lines and socially distance and wear a mask and bring your sanitizer, just because Trump is trying to fuck with the results already and trying to discredit mail-in ballots. So I also want to promise people, mail-in ballot will count. We will make sure our democracy is predicated on every ballot will count, but it might not be counted on election day, on election night. So if you want to be part of that first total and you want to make sure that Trump doesn't claim that he won erroneously and claim that he won just because he is in the lead on election night, which might happen because there's this blue shift people are anticipating because of Trump's misinformation. His followers think mail-in voting is fraudulent, which is not true, but they will go vote in person. And reasonable people that aren't hypnotized by a lying monster are going to mail-in vote a lot more to be safe. And so their vote will be counted later. So the vote tally will shift towards Democrats and towards Biden after election night. And so Trump's plan, it seems like, it's going to be to claim victory on election night. And then as that gets explained that that's total bullshit, he's going to fight it and say they're stealing it from me when the opposite is true. So if you can vote in person, great. If you can't, take your mail-in ballot and try to drop it off in person on election day at your polling location or at your registrar's office or at an official drop box, so that it does get counted on election day. If you can, try to do this in advance. And if you have to mail it, do it right now. Fill it out tonight, mail it in tomorrow morning. So
and send it. What's your take on that, Justine?
So I took the leap and I completed my ballot and submitted it to my nearest drop box. So we'll see. I'll be monitoring. I signed up for the alerts. I did receive a text message when my ballot was sent out. It was strange. I got the text, but I received the ballot the same day somehow. But so I dropped it off in the Dropbox, and we'll see how long it takes for them to receive it and give me a notification. I really urge everyone to vote, whatever method you choose to. Like Ben said, this is early voting has started. We're still almost 30 days away from election day, and you can vote today. So as soon as you get those ballots, I know not everyone has them yet, but they were just sent out, I believe, late last week. So people are going to be receiving them through the end of this week, hopefully. If you want to do USPS, do USPS. If you want to do a Dropbox, there's over 400 of them in the county, in LA County alone. If you do send it via USPS, it just needs to be postmarked the day of the election. I believe our window is 10 days post-election. As long as the secretary or the county registrar receives it within 10 days after the election day, it will be counted.
17, it says right here.
17? Oh, yep. My apologies. Thank you.
Wow.
17 days. I think another state has a 30-day. It's every state kind of has a different time frame for that post-election, what they count. So
some people are asking an interesting question here on Instagram. They're saying that if you think some folks are going to send their mail-in ballot and then they're going to go vote in person, isn't that against the law?
So you can't vote twice. Voting twice is against the law. I did this for the not that I didn't do that specifically, but for the primary earlier this year, I misplaced my ballot. My plan was to fill out the ballot and then drop it off the day of. I misplaced it. So when I went to the polling place, they were able to look up that absentee ballot was sent. So they can confirm that, like, hey, you have out in the ether an absentee ballot. They had to print out a form and have me sign a declaration indicating that absentee ballot would be null and void. If it ever reached the Secretary of State, that it would be null and void. So the new in-person one would replace it.
Got it.
So they can check in real time whether or not they've received a ballot or not, and check if an absentee was sent to you. So they will ask, and they are not allowed to take two separate votes. So the system will go, you mailed us a absentee ballot, you can't do it again. Like, you're not supposed to vote again in person.
And if you show up and your name is not on the rolls, you plan to vote in person, make sure they double, triple check. And if they don't find you, it's your legal right to request a provisional ballot. They have to give one to you, and they have to drop it in that box. It won't get counted that night, but they will certify that was you, and then they will count the vote. And also, if you see any irregularities at the polls, if your friends hear about irregularities because the Trump campaign is telling his supporters to come armed to the polls, it's illegal to do that. Call the Voter Protection Hotline. It's a free legal counsel, 866-OUR VOTE, OUR VOTE. 866-OUR VOTE.
Drop that on the private chat. I can also add it on the chat so people can see it.
I cannot put it in the chat. My hands are full.
Okay. Okay. Another question that I have here. Are we able to vote electronically? Because somebody's saying here that some folks can vote done via an iPad.
Well, I can answer that question. So when I went to the polling place, this was a new voting system they implemented for this election cycle, including the primary earlier this year. So there were iPads there for the check-in for the primary election. So, and I love the question. It's such a, it's just really nice to see someone thinking about people who aren't going to have the same capabilities with technology. And it totally was an issue when I was there. They didn't find my name. The person using the iPad was having trouble, tried a few times and couldn't find my name. It took someone coming to help them navigate the software to get to that place. So hopefully they've learned lessons from earlier this year, which was the first time of them using that system.
Holy moly, that was wild. The March 3rd election was wild with the whole electronic thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just crazy. For older people especially, it was really tough. And for people that are used to voting in the same place for the past 10, 15, 20 years, that was like somebody died in their family, not finding their polling center where they always find it. Yeah.
But between the the iPad, which is new, I would just tell folks, if you're going to go in person, to have a little bit of patience with poll workers as they learn it. Between the iPad situation and them having to look a few times to find my voter file, and then when I got the ballot, it's a new electronic system to submit it. It's like a feeding system that you submit your ballot into. Mine got jammed, of course, the first time, so I had to go to another machine and vote again. So yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they, learned some lessons and have improved.
Also, if it's okay, Aura, can I give a couple of suggestions as to things that I'm voting for, just to explain why?
Absolutely. Well, so let's just get to it. So I know that you have just a few minutes with us, but I know that Molly, Watson, and Justine are going to stay with us going over the ballot. But yes, please. I mean, one of the things that I missed the most was to get my sample ballot. I didn't get that this year, and that was kind of sad because I used to love to make my little notes and do everything that I needed to do in my ballot. But tell us what are some of the things that you're voting for. Tell us what the proposition, for example, is, and why yes or why no.
Sure. So firstly, I am voting for Biden-Harris. That is what I think the future is. In an election like this, as much as I want the two-party system to end, and I think it is a corrupt system and it's messed up, you cannot, when you're at an existential crisis point, vote for a third party. It is the same as voting for the party you do not want to win.
Guys, I'm an environmental candidate. Do not fucking do it. I'm telling you, do not do it.
Because they will lose. They also won't get the 5% this go around. Exactly. They can get some more funding, but they will lose, and Donald Trump will win. we need to have a landslide to make sure he doesn't steal this election. So even in California, you have to vote so that there's a huge rebuke of this person. So don't vote for Trump, and don't also vote for Kanye West for vice president.
Do not vote for Kanye West. Do not vote for Kanye West.
On that guy is
so
ridiculous. So please do that. And then just I just wanted to quickly speak on two props on the California ballot. I recommend that people vote yes on Prop 15. It provides an additional many billions of dollars of funding to schools and local government. And it's important because we rank like 40th in our funding of our schools. We rank 50th in the ratio of teachers to students, 51st actually, dead last in ratio of teachers to students. Students to guidance counselors were dead last. Students to librarians were dead last.
And Ben, 50,000 of our students do not have computers today.
Right.
And they cannot do their schoolwork.
Right.
So 50, and of course, you take a wild guess of who these kids are, the ones that don't have computers or don't have access to Wi-Fi. So absolutely, we need to support our public education and we need to support our kids. And for some of you that follow me, you know about Ready to Help, and actually we're collecting computers. So if you have old computers, we're putting your old computers to good work to give it to students. But in the meantime, what are we voting for, Ben?
So yes, on 15, it's very important. And the people that are against it are saying, oh, that it raises property taxes on small businesses or on hardworking families. That is not true. They only raise taxes on industrial and commercial property owners who are not small businesses.
Okay.
Definitely not anybody working from their home, not small businesses. And they still cap it at 1% of their income. That is not bad when we're the 5th largest economy in the world. California is, as a state, bigger than every other country other than 5. We can afford to take some of our big business that is not paying their fair share of taxes and to help fund our schools. That is very, very important.
Absolutely.
And I would
We're
like
about to go in a recession at a state and at the local level. So more than ever, we need the people that have most to support those that have less in our community.
100%. If you do not fund the future doesn't happen the way you want. It couldn't be more obvious and more basic. And as it also continues, if you care about trying to close the gap of funding and of treatment and of systemic racism and systemic disadvantage that communities of color have had, this helps build them up because they disproportionately receive the least funding, and this can help close that gap and make sure that communities of color are funded more properly, their schools are funded more properly. It's very, very important. And then Prop 17, I'd like to say a quick word about Prop 17. Please vote yes, because it restores voting rights to Californians on parole.
Absolutely. We have to.
We have to end our cash bail system in this country. We should not have your financial wherewithal determines whether you're a free person or not while awaiting trial, while awaiting a verdict. And if you have paroled out, you should be able to vote until there is a verdict against you. I believe that felons should be able to vote. So you certainly should be able to vote while you're on parole awaiting trial. It's ridiculous. And it's just the powers that be trying to keep people, and again, communities of color disproportionately, and disadvantaged people financially disproportionately, out of being able to have a voice and being able to change their circumstances. You're not convicted of anything. There is no legitimate argument to take away your right to vote. So stop that bullshit.
Absolutely. And I just want to remind folks to use your favorite pen and send all the good love and all the good vibes to these measures that we're suggesting and the candidates that we're supporting, because they're going to need it. Besides, please volunteer to make phone calls, to make sure that that we're reaching voters, just to get people out to vote. So everyone, please, there is plenty of resources out there. Use a pen, not a pencil. It says and the ballot.
It says blue or black ink also only, so make sure you do that. I just posted this on my thing. Naked ballots is an issue around the country. People's ballots are being disqualified because the Trump campaign has literally many legal teams that are already preparing to challenge any issue with any of these ballots. So if yours says you have to put it in one envelope, then put it in a security sleeve, then another envelope, read it, take a minute, use your eyes, use your brain, follow the steps. Do not get your ballot invalidated. Otherwise, you wasted your time. Follow some simple steps so that these nefarious forces can't steal our democracy. You don't have a right to vote. We live in a dictatorship. Not only would that suck normally, but it sucks extra if your dictator's a total idiot.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we got two measures. We have yes on 15, and also yes on, I think you said 17.
Yes on 17, that is correct.
Yes on 15 and yes on 17,
Yep.
y'all. So,
and I have to bounce, Aura, because I'm about to do whatever I can to preparing for the Pence-Harris debate tonight to amplify Kamala Harris and to try to combat the disinformation. So I have some friends and I are gathering on a private call to take care of some of that. Please
make sure that everybody knows how much we appreciate them working on this. I'm doing this live stream because I want everyone to, maybe watch this live stream later or so, and we will go more over the ballot, Justine. And I so appreciate you stopping by. I want to get you back because I want to talk about your experience running for office and my experience about running for office.
I would love that. And I supported your run. You were robbed.
well, we're like making it happen for sure.
You have an amazing future ahead of yourself in politics, because I've rarely seen somebody as passionate about the world and about your local area, from the micro to the macro, as you are. You really care, and you do it in a very innovative and very, very tech savvy and very passionate way. I saw you. We did an event together at the Improv, a political event, and I thought you were fantastic, and I had to have you on my podcast. You came on and you crushed it because you just speak from your heart and you know what you're talking about. And so listen to Aura Vasquez.
Thank you, Ben. You're the best. I feel like there is some sort of improv in me too. I feel like I'm pretty funny myself, personally.
Now you're out of control. Now you've lost it. You're out of control. And the power's gone to your head.
So when you have like amateurs, rookie night or something on your thing.
Now we're talking better. Amateur night, maybe. Yeah. You got jokes and we got jokes in the White House. So let's stop it and let's start fighting for common sense again.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We'll talk soon and go get it done.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, you all. So we continue getting the ballots and doing the ballots now. We're going to do more local. And Justine is going to join me just now on Instagram now. So now it's going to be all synchronized because...
Synchronized in a second.
It's not just going to be me and 3 other people in the ether. It's actually going to be all of us having a conversation on Instagram and on that. So, okay, there he is. No, I actually believe the correct pronoun is they. So, let's see. Justine, I'm waiting for you. Wait, I lost you. There you go. Here. All right.
Is there a crazy echo?
I can mitigate that echo that I was talking about. But I think we're good.
I think we're good.
I think we're great. I think there's no echo. Wow, yeah. Okay, awesome. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for the pronouns. I didn't want to stop the show with
I know some folks were asking, but yeah. Thank you. I appreciate. I self-corrected myself. So welcome to Aura's VTH virtual town halls. It's such an honor to have you. You have been such a big supporter of mine, and actually someone that I look up to, and somebody that I can rely on for information when it comes to my local politics. So I so appreciate that you're making the time to join us today.
Of course, I'm really happy to be with you today. Hello to everyone on Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's get into propositions, whatever you want to talk about.
Of course. Well, I definitely want to go over our ballot. And one of the things that I want to just tell the audience is that we have as a resource, and the link is in my bio. If you are on Instagram, but if you're watching everyone else, you can see we have a progressivevotersguide.com. and this was provided by the campaign from the organization, the Courage campaign, and they have an amazing a voter guide. So I have partnered up with them today. And Molly, amazing Molly, is gonna joining us just in a little bit when she's done kicking some ass too in the Fuck Trump campaign. So here we are. But in my local ballot, the first thing that came up is my city council race. And one thing that I noticed here is that, you know, I have Grace Yu. I ran for this seat actually, and I have Marguerite Thomas. I don't have a place to writing candidate.
Hmm.
Do you know why? I thought that every place had it, and I see it in every other you know, election. Like I see it. If I see it here, I see it in here.
Well, the thing is, you need to get certified as a write-in candidate.
Oh,
so someone has to do that. If no one did that for CD10, went through that process, it's a much lower threshold of signatures and stuff like that.
Got
but
it.
You still need to go through that process. So if no one did it for CD10,
that would have been interesting. I missed the mark on that, friend. So that one is tough for me because it is. I'm just I'm not impressed by either, you know, candidates right now. Sadly, I mean, I know both of them. We got one that tried to criminalize the homeless, and another one that opposed shelter in Koreatown. So tough. One that has no idea about environmental issues, and another one that takes money from the fossil fuel industry. Tough for me, you know. One career politician and another one that has been running for office for the past 15 years. So, District 10, tomorrow will be another day. These two shall pass. That's all I'm gonna say.
Holding no punches today. I didn't.
We are not holding back on this live stream for sure. And if you listen, and for folks in the audience, if you are in opposition, make your pitch. This is the beauty of social media. Just please, by all means, go ahead and say, no, I think we should support this other person, or so this is why I'm supporting this and that. So please get your voice heard, because this is a participatory event, not just for the two of us. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I got to do the plug for Stonewall Democratic Club and LACDP, that Margaret Lee Thomas is our endorsed candidate. Mm-hmm. But I think it's incumbent upon every voter to do the research, to really look at who the best candidate is. And I know it could be really difficult. We don't always have the perfect choice. You know, I supported you in your campaign for this seat. Mm-hmm. But a good rule for me, and I'm getting an echo in my ear, that's what's throwing me off a little bit.
Okay, let me try and see if I can lower this and see if is this better?
Maybe a little bit, but it's okay. But I try to sit down and think about what candidate will do best for the constituents in need. You know, that's really the fundamental question: who is best for the seat to serve and govern? And it's so difficult with so much money in our politics to go who, you know, there's so many interests with money that impact elections that it could really muddle that. But
right.
I encourage everyone to look at it.
I always talk about my my organizing, you know, my life all revolves around really organizing, and there's an organizing principle that says no permanent allies, no permanent enemies. This is politics, guys, and people change, and you should be allowed to change your mind. You know, sometimes we see elected officials that take one position and then they change because the community puts pressure, or they learn, or they grow. So, you know, with all the respect to both candidates, running for office is extremely hard. Extremely hard. And So I just want to definitely give a big shout out to all of the people running for office, because it's really hard, whether I like them or not. It's really hard. Okay, so I think we have Molly. Molly, I'm gonna bring you in on Facebook. Hello, welcome.
Hi, Molly.
Hi, how are you guys doing? Good to see you. Sorry I'm late.
Perfect time.
Oh, good. I definitely did that on purpose. Good to see you all.
We just mentioned the voter guide that you guys have. That is awesome.
Thank
and
you.
We were just going over the candidates, which are, I mean, everybody kind of has their own candidates. You live not in the city of LA. Justina and I live in different neighborhoods. So, and then you're getting some shout outs. Hi, Molly. People are just definitely saying hello. So that's awesome to you. But since I have you here, so I'm wondering if we should do this. I have also community college trustees. And can we talk about what are they? Because I feel that we know about presidentials, we know about city council, we know about the mayor, but a lot of people don't know what this community college trustees is about. So what is can you guys just elaborate a little bit of, Justine, can you go over what do they do and why is important?
Yeah, sure. So LACCD is the body that governs our community colleges here in Los Angeles. I believe there are 9 campuses. We're talking about Los Angeles City College, Pierce College over in the Valley, LA Valley College, and a handful of others. And this board is think of it similar to a school board, but just for community colleges. So setting sort of the bigger picture agenda. These are not the folks who run the day-to-day operations. They're not the presidents of a, or what could be considered a principal for a community college campus, but really set the district-wide policies that govern those students and the budget. There's I think it's 4 seats.
Yeah, I see some familiar names. I see some names that I'm like, oh, this person is running for office. Yeah.
There's incumbents in all 4 seats.
Happening in 2020, you all.
Yeah, so there are incumbents in each seat. Definitely familiar names, and I don't know how much you want me to go into. I know we have limited time, and there's so many propositions, and I know Kurt's campaign focuses statewide too, so I want to give space for that as well.
No, totally. Well, so I think since I have you on the call, I can go over the candidates because it's very hyper local, depending on what district you're in. But
I would love to hear more from you and Justine about your takes on the candidates and the community college stuff. I would love just to say I'm here, but y'all keep speaking because I'm learning too.
Molly, I'm gonna bring you in like in 10 minutes on Instagram, so the people on Instagram can see you, because right now they're like, who is she talking to? Is she talking to herself? And Justine and I are looking at you on the other screen like, what? Instagram, you need to allow third parties so we can all be together at once. Come on.
And I was in that position earlier too, so I get it. It's like a weird, like, am I supposed to be talking now? I don't know.
You can talk. We'll make it work, Molly. Do not hold back. Community college. Okay, so I see, like I said, I see a lot of familiar names. Some people doing good work. I just have to say that actually people ask me to run for community college. And especially with my environmental background, because, sustainability, housing, there's so many things that are happening at the community college level. So please cast your vote and make sure that you elect somebody that is going to represent students and teachers and everybody really, really honorably.
Yeah, and I don't have, and Molly, I submitted my ballot. I already submitted my ballot. I don't have it right in front of me, but early, I did the, I dived into the ballot drop box. So hopefully they receive it. I'll be waiting to look at updates. But that's what I went for. There's one right in front of my local library, so I decided to just fill it out and drop it off. If you could help me with sort of the candidates, if we want to go.
Candidates. So for trustee seat 1, we have Tori Bailey. He's a homelessness liaison. Sharnette Tunson is a K-12 school administrator. Karen Hernandez, which is an education advocate. Andra Hoffman, which is already a member of the board of trustees. So he's, I guess, the incumbent.
She's the sitting president of the board.
There you go. Antonio Polo Sanchez. She's a community. I have heard this name before. Marjorie Shaw, is a business manager, and Jessica McKerns, which is a student organizer. I love that. And Richard Cuevas. And also, you can have a writing candidate. So maybe this is my turn.
Whoever got certified for that.
Okay.
So on that seat, I voted for Andra. I've known her for some time. She's done a lot of work with LGBTQ rights at the community college level, setting district-wide policies. So it really was a given for me. I voted for her the first time around, and this is just voting for a re-election.
Molly,
and there's so many candidates. Jesus.
Are you familiar with this race, with any of these names, or you're gonna pass?
I don't know any of the folks in that race, I don't think.
Okay, so we have a recommendation to support Andra Hoffman. And so there's
also endorsed by Stonewall Democratic Club and LA County Democratic Party.
Got it. Okay, good. I'm gonna keep looking on these names. I have heard a few names, so I want to make sure. Board of Trustees, seat number 3. So we have Michael Batty, Sylvia Brooks Griffin, Gary Anderson, Lydia Gutierrez, Rufin Eugene Patterson, Robert Payne, Anthony Joseph Dana, Chartura De Silva, David Bella, and Samuel Paul Whitehead. So I only know David Bella. He's already a trustee. He was appointed. I think he's also been very big on LGBTQ issues.
He's also endorsed by Stonewall Democratic Club, is an out, the first member of that board to be out LGBTQ elected on the community college board. So I did vote for David as well.
David, okay. So Stonewall is supporting them. Awesome. I think also the Legal Conservation Voters is supporting David. So the enviros, the moderate enviros, don't tell my board, the enviros are supporting. I'm just throwing punches in this live stream today, like no shame. Okay, we got trustee seat number 5. This one is the one that is woo, fuego. Glenn Bailey, Cynthia Gonzalez. I've seen her really working hard. Michelle Henderson, another wonderful woman. Pat Sturgis, Scott Swonkin. It's time for change. Michelle Manos, she's actually a homeless advocate, and she's been wonderful one. But she entered the race very late. But Michelle is in there, so much love to Michelle. Sergio Vargas and Nichette James Gray. So where are we? So many good names. Oh.
So Stonewall Democratic Club endorsed Michelle Henderson in this race, and I believe the LA Times endorsed Michelle Henderson as well. Cynthia Gonzalez is great. She's a principal at an LAUSD school. I visited her campus. She ran for school board in my LAUSD board district. Wonderful person, really with the full scope of understanding of the breadth of needs of K through 12 students, which I think is a really complimentary thing to have when we're talking about our community college district, because of course, the vast majority of those students come from LAUSD.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. I will, in full transparency, I voted for Cynthia. But again, Stonewall Democratic Club endorsed
Michelle. I know that Michelle. I know that there are no. I believe today in the school board, that in the community college board, there is no a Black trustee, African American. So something to think about. And I know Michelle Henderson is African American. I hate to bring really the identity politics here, but we do want a board that is that represents our community, and we
Mhm.
and we are of all colors and sizes in LA. So it would be interesting, something to think about. I know that the incumbent is Scott, and I want to make a huge pledge that we need change. We need change. We need new blood. We need new ideas. I would love to see a woman. I mean, my homegirl Michelle Manos is in here too, and she's an incredible organizer, former Bernie person too, amazing. So there's a lot of good names. I just wanna say. So I'm gonna move on. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say a few or other that are supporting Henderson, California Faculty Association, Stonewall Democratic Club, of course, Stonewall Young Dems, San Fernando Valley Young Dems, Cheerla. Yes.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of beautiful support.
Yeah, Senator Holly Mitchell, Assemblywoman Kamala Dove. It's a pretty good group supporting.
It's awesome to see all these women kicking ass out there. I just want to say, regardless, it's really great. Trustee seat number 7, we have Corey D. Butler. I have heard of him. Chris Hand, Nancy Perlman. Wow, Nancy, yes. Keep working at it. Keep going. Jamal Stewart, Arturo Flores, who is somebody that I know, and I'm actually super surprised that he's running for office. I didn't even know. Mike Fong, who has been a trustee for 100 years, and doing his thing. I love you, Mike. I love you long time, but it's been a long time. Okay. So we got Rachel Watts.
Wow.
So this is another really interesting place. And what's happening with this seat? I really like Nancy Perlman. She talk about pre-AOC days. Alexandria Congresswoman Cortez. This woman ran a campaign with no money, and people poured tons of money against her, and she still won. I just want to say out there that it's possible at the local level. So that's Nancy Perlman for you. Any words on you guys for these folks?
Molly, did you have anything?
Yeah, so I'll say that I found my people. We do have listings that are going up here. So we actually for all of these seats, there's a slate of women, Black women that are running called, it's the Justice for LACCD. And so we're actually going to recommend that slate of people. However, in addition to them, we will also be recommending Nichelle Henderson in a dual rec for seat 7. And she also, Black Women's Democratic Club, we endorsed her as well. I know Nichelle personally, and she's a really strong candidate and person, progressive, and think she would do a great job. But I just brought that in for y'all. Take it back away.
Awesome. Yes. Hey. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So again, I love that there's so many amazing women, running for office and really being competitive and viable, as they like to say in politics. Okay. So for me, at least, in my assembly district, I have 2 people that I can choose from: Richard Bloom or Will Hess. Mr. Bloom, I have tried everything in my power to meet with you, to give you some of my beautiful love and my amazing ideas, to support you, and it's okay. Actually, you have incredible staff that I love deeply, and when you're ready to get a cafecito with me, I'm here for you. I'm going to vote for you. And I encourage everyone in our district to vote for you. And my hope is that you have been an incredible environmental steward. That's, by far. But I really hope that that this pandemic really brings you more to a place where there is more access to you in a different way. Like, we have live streams, we have text messages, we have all this stuff. And being a public servant can be really difficult sometimes. But we're in the era of decentralization and access. So I hope that you can take all these resources and give us more love in the community and get to know all the newcomers and the old comers, and and create a space for all of us to build a relationship with you. So having said that, I'm voting for you, and I encourage everyone to also vote. If you are in my district, vote for Richard Bloom. Are you guys, anybody else supporting Richard Bloom?
Stonewall Democratic Club endorsed Richard Bloom.
We are recommending him to keep the district going in the right on the right track.
All right. I feel like the forces at B are gonna get this message out there, and eventually Mr. Bloom and I are gonna be buddies. All right. Who's down for Karen Bass? Me. Okay, so that's also my representative of 37. I am very happy that Miss Bass, she's another one that I want to have on my speed dial and like be like, oh yeah, we were in the patio having coffee. That's like the kind of conversations I want to come and say here in my live stream.
In it for the celebrity.
No, but with all seriousness, guys. So of course, I support the movement for Black lives in the United States. I'm an Afro-Latina from Colombia. And in Colombia, also, Black people experience violence and discrimination and systemic racism. And I have been connecting with an organization that works in Colombia and here. And to try to bridge and to try to also help other people in the world understand that the struggle of Black people is not exclusive to the United States. That also happens in other places where there is Black in the African diaspora. So Ms. Bass' name came up because she is the head of the Black Caucus, and I'm very proud of her for that. And they wanted to, connect with her around this issue. So I think there's going to be unseen energy there for her, for my plea to the universe to bring us together. Maybe on this international issue of Black lives, which is something that I have been really, involved with. Okay, so now we got Measure RR. Who wants to talk about this measure? I think Molly's got something going on here. Let me put you.
Yeah, no. I think I'm quite certain we are on the endorsing side of Measure RR. So yeah, I mean, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I'm actually looking up more information right now.
This is super important because it's school at grades and safety. So whether it's COVID-19, whether it's lead, asbestos, earthquake, water quality, guys, I want to talk about this. Oh my God, now you guys just set me on fire with this thing. So Measure RR. So one of the things that I learned as a commissioner for the Department of Water and Power is that a lot of schools, like we, in LA at least, we provide the water, and the quality water, but the piping and other things in the schools are not required to be tested. So we can bring the best water, but if the principals or the schools don't really want to test the facilities, they don't really have to, which is so sad. So I think this measure is gonna give LA Unified School District $7 million in bonds at legal rates for as evaluation. So wait, hold on. So this is annually until approximately 2055. Okay, let me see what people are saying here. If you guys have information about the Measure RR, please say it. Go ahead, Justine.
So this is a continuation of a current tax. It's something of around $21 and change per $100,000 of property evaluation. And I think it's pretty essential just to continue that. LUSD is so underfunded at this point, primarily because of our state funding measures that leave us in, I believe, the bottom 10, depending on what calculation we're looking at in terms of per pupil spending. So we definitely need, continue to locally contribute to our schools, our facilities, on top of, hopefully advocating for more spending on education at the state. I know we're in the middle of a crisis. We're pinching, tightening the belt, but it's really disappointing to see, the decrease in per pupil spending over decades, and it's really left so many of our Black and brown students behind.
Absolutely.
So at the local level, I'm for.
Okay, so we are voting yes on Measure RR. It's going to be good for our kids. It's going to be good for our schools, especially now that they're underfunded, and especially more with COVID. Please support our local schools. All right, now this one is going to be exciting. So, County Supervisor, Second District. So we got Holly Mitchell, and we got Herb Wesson Jr. All right.
Mommy's ready to talk about this one.
Everybody's gonna have their moment to speak. I am voting for Holly Mitchell, personally, and I encourage everyone to vote for Holly Mitchell. We need a new style of leadership. Now, I have nothing against Herb Wesson. In fact, his little new grandson is Colombiano too, so we're kind of like related in a weird way, in like a racial, like ethnic way. I love how approachable and funny he is. I strive to be that kind of elected official too, maybe one day. What I think is my sticky point is, under Herb Wesson being the president, a lot of things went down at the city council in Los Angeles, and it was not pretty. We got 2 city council members and potentially another one that basically left, or one went to jail. The other one is kind of in jail, and the other one left before he went to jail. I mean, it's just no. This, if you need to have your house together, and now you want to run the county again. No permanent allies. Don't hate on me, but I'm just all in for Holly. Guys, comments, please. Go ahead and make your pitch. There you go.
Justine, you sure you don't want to go first?
No, to be honest, on a personal level, I've worked with, Councilmember Wesson for a long time. It's part and parcel for, me being a young staffer at City Hall. It was my first ever position, and he's someone who, supported me just on a professional and personal level for a long time. So I have a lot of faith in the council member, and it's not my district, one, and my hats are split. Stonewall Democratic Club has endorsed Holly Mitchell. LA County Democratic Party has endorsed Herb Wesson. So there's, those are the 2 hats that I bring, and then the personal hat as well. But I don't want to debate anybody on these candidates. These are both great public servants, and I have
Molly, where are you at with this?
So I am also not in the district. I'll say that out loud. I also have, most of my focus and time has been on the state. So I don't know how to speak about the kind of leader that Holly is, and that the state legislature would potentially lose with her coming to be a supervisor, because she's such a powerhouse, and because she leads on things that people will not pick up, and because she pushes people, and that's not only on the floor, that's in like the halls, that's everywhere else. I think she set an example for so many years on how things could be done, even in the face of the moderate, even in the face of the moderate Democrats who tend to take over much of Sacramento. She's been somebody who has continued to stay strong. We are fully endorsing her at Courage, California. She's been a stronghold for us the entire time we've paid attention to Sacramento. Black Women's Democratic Club is fully endorsing her and very strongly behind her. I know that...
I got 5 seconds, Molly. I see you on Instagram in just a minute, okay?
You see me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. I still see you here, but let me let me add this thing real quick on Instagram, and then
Gotcha.
we can get you in here.
You got it. So yeah, it's what I have found is that Los Angeles is hella messy, right? Like, is a beast. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that's going on. A lot of people have relationships for different reasons that are like a lot of times really good personal reasons, similar to what both of you just stated about your own relationships and interactions with somebody like her. I think what people tend to find though with Holly is that she is somebody who focuses on the budget, and she focuses on implementation, and she focuses on really changing things. I think that she is an incredibly qualified candidate, and that in this day and age, as we look at the tide we could turn, and especially a huge county like Los Angeles, the things that she could do around our budget and the way she would do things versus the way somebody like her, nothing against her being friendly and being people's friends and supporting people. I wish we had more people who felt like they could go to their elected officials and feel like that and feel like they would have that support. However, that's not all we need in a county supervisor.
Right? I absolutely agree with you. I'm going to start my live stream, so I hope I can. I think you're going to join me through the Courage Campaign account. So I'll see you there in just a minute.
Okay, I'll see you pop up, I think, right?
Yes, I'm already like, hello everyone, welcome back. I am here now. Molly Watson from the Courage Campaign is going to join us. So get prepared because we're going over our ballots. We just went over a bunch of stuff. Now we're going over a district attorney, which I think is going to be super important conversation. So get ready. Los Angeles District Attorney election happening now. So I'm just waiting. There you are. Thank you for joining me. Let me lower, if you can lower the volume on your phone or something, that will help. And yeah, I will strongly suggest you to put there you go, all at once, because then it drives you crazy. Like all this election time for me also kind of drives me. So, yeah,
you're a pro. I'm just picking up here, Ara. I'm just trying to be like you, girl.
No worries. I just literally rest the phone on my computer, which is like the easiest. I know people think I have like a army of people helping me with this. Like, no, guys, we're just women. We know how to do everything.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. That's it. Sometimes. Oh man.
Totally. Okay, so we got district attorney. We got Jackie Lacey and George Gascon. So I am supporting George Gascon. I don't even know if there's much to say. Right now, Justine, I don't know if you want to say anything or you want to add anything about the race for
Jackie. I'll say that Stonewall Democratic Club and LA County Democratic Party has endorsed George Gascon. I think it's pretty evident we need some change. I was really taken aback at a Stonewall Democratic Club meeting where Black Lives Matter organizers asked to be a part of the forum where Jackie, where we'd have Jackie Lacey there to answer questions. And to think that Black Lives Matter had been trying to get a meeting with Jackie for, I don't know, it sounded like a year plus. And to see the anger, to be there and sit with the anger and listen to constituents who were like, hey, the only way we've been able to bring our voice to you is by shouting at you from outside your office, was really disappointing. Oh, little kiddos. But it was a very eye-opening event, and I'll just say that meeting sort of, I was like, oh my God, like this is I
think we don't have to say much other than I'm just gonna vote for Jackie Lacey, and I think the majority of folks now are leaning towards that way. I think that we need to move to a world where also cops get prosecuted when they kill people, innocent people. or just anyone in general. I mean, no one is above the law. So I really have faith in George Gascon also. And as an environmentalist, he also came into my show and educated us about how DAs also prosecute environmental justice cases. So, just 2 or 3 blocks away from my home, there is an urban oil drilling happening site. So, how would it be like if we could, as citizens, make sure that they also are accountable for all the hazards that they put in our air and in our water, and also for all the pollution that they produce for our sea. So, on that note, I'm voting for Josh Gaston, and I encourage you to vote for him too. Like, we gotta definitely go hard. Now, I have here 3 Superior Court judges. Um, Go ahead, Justin.
Oh well, Molly, were you just fine on district attorney?
Oh yeah. I'll be voting for George Gascon. I'm pushing very hard for anyone to do that as well. Jackie Lacey's had plenty of chances. Too much stuff that she controls in LA County that we need. It's a time for reform.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Anything? Do we have in your guide any of the Superior Court folks? We got Steve Morgan, Ian Dillinger. This Superior Court stuff is important. Actually, I heard Karen Bass talk about it, and I was super educated about these things. So we got number 72, number 80, and number 162. I don't know if maybe in your guide, in the progressive voter guide, Molly, you have suggestions for who to vote for in terms of judges, superior court judges.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up our write-ups right now. Fun story. It's really fun putting together a website. Also, we've done over like 250 plus like in-depth write-ups, so everything's just sort of a pain in the ass to put on. That being said, our judges are going up tomorrow, I believe, along with 2 other races. But I do know that I believe we're recommending Mayana Dillinger as one of them. And actually, I'll speak on, yeah, and just to speak on her too, she's somebody who I am interested to see what happens with her and how she stays involved in things. And I think that she has a very interesting chance of being able to win that race. I'll also say that we Black Women's Democratic Club, we endorsed her. And she's an immigrant from, I'm going to forget where she's actually from right now. She's not from here, not born here, but she speaks, go ahead.
Is she another Afro-Latina?
She's not Afro-Latina. She is a white woman. And she is, from what I can tell, not really with the shits. So she's coming with very much a lens of wanting to see change and getting rid of, again, the status quo. She's been really active, as from what we can tell recently, and the interactions I've had with her. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she's doing. But I'm going to pull up the rest of these as well for you right now.
Okay, let us know. I got, at least for my ballot, I got number 80, which is David Berger or Clint James McKay. And I got also David Diamond from 162nd and Scott Andrew Young. Some of them are deputy district attorneys. Some of them are attorneys or law professors. Interesting. Judge. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was not present for our endorsements. I do want to relay Stonewall Democratic Club endorsed in 72, Steve Morgan in 80, David Berger, and 162, Scott Yang. But I was not a part of those conversations, so I can't speak to these candidates.
Okay, we'll
many races.
We'll compare and contrast with the Courage Campaign voter guide. So now, this is one of my favorite measures. I'm so glad that it's happening. Measure J, as in justice. That's what I like to call it. J as in justice. I am all in for J. I think say no more. This is a community investment and alternatives to incarceration minimum county budget allocation. So anybody wants to say a little more about Measure J?
Holly, do you have
Yeah, I mean, I think you pointed out some good pieces from it. It's a really strong measure coming through. For what it's worth, I think that what's important to point out are the folks that have been organizing around Measure J to make sure that it was going to get on the ballot and that it was addressing the things in the county that we need to have happen. It was like young people. I want to say this was this Isaac and Onesis that did Measure J? Didn't they co-chair this campaign, I believe? Right? Isaac Bryant and Onesis Hernandez. Anyways, we're fully supporting the measure.
It addresses the disproportionate impact of racial injustice, basically, through, this is like defund the police, basically, in a different way, without really taking funds out of the police budget. But it's addressing impacts of injustice through community investments and alternatives to incarceration, and prohibiting using those funds for systems or more money for law enforcement. So, guys, yes, we need alternatives.
Yeah, and I just want to say I listened to, KPCC's been doing a back and forth on each of the measures and ballot propositions, and I was really disappointed with, I think it was the deputy district attorney's sort of take on it. The president of their group saying like, hey, just leave it to the county board of supervisors to figure out what's fiscally responsible or not. And I think people have the right to tell their governments, hey, we want this pot of money for restorative justice, for to not, fund systems of putting people in prison, of, creating harm. And they get to do that. I think we get to do that as Los Angeles. I don't think, it's worked. The bureaucrats are the experts and they'll figure it out, leave it to them. And the cycle of organizing it takes to pressure elected officials on a regular basis. It's not acceptable to put on the people that we would have to just continue to do that for new candidates and electeds every time, when we can express our voice at the ballot box and say, hey, we always want this, this amount of money at least for funding justice. I think it's obvious. But.
You tell him, Justine. Tell him how it gets done. We are all in for Measure J. Say no more. Please vote yes on J for justice. Yes. Okay. Now moving on. This one is kind of interesting. Yes. So it's Measure 14, and is authorizing bonds to stem cell research. So it's going to authorize 5.5 billion state bonds for stem cell and other medical research, including training, research facility construction, administrative costs. It's going to dedicate 1.5 billion to brain-related diseases, and appropriates general fund money for repayment. So how are we feeling about Measure 14 for cell research initiative?
I'm quite certain we're going to be neutral potentially on this.
Okay.
So not finding a lot of up or downs on either side, and that's how we're going to go. That seems like a lot of the groups are doing as well.
I just feel like right now in these COVID-19 times, I feel like we need it, and especially without Medicare for all. There's so many pieces. I mean, I'm just constantly amazed to see how many people, for example, die from cancer because we don't do enough research on how to cure cancer. We're almost got AIDS under control, and HIV, and now other diseases, and so many people suffer from brain, from brain-related diseases. So I'm almost done. I mean, I'm almost convinced that this is I'm gonna vote yes on this personally. So we don't need to spend a lot of time on it. And I know that we've been talking for a while, guys. So now measure 15, which is increase funding source for public schools, community colleges, and local government services by changing stacks of um, commercial and industrial property. I'm voting yes on measure 15. We need funding for our schools. We went over this earlier too with Ben. Ben made a big um, pledge on this. Now, let's talk about measure 16, which is, I think it's the, I want to say it's the affirmative action kind of,
Right.
where are we on this measure?
So for what it's worth, we're a hard yes on Prop 15 as well. And in terms of Prop 16, this is a huge opportunity for California. It would be the repeal of Prop 209, which would reinstate affirmative action in the state. And I think it's a difficult one to understand for folks who weren't really around prior to Proposition 209. But I think one of the biggest things to do is, one, look at the data figures of the difference, the disparities that have grown since this has gone away in terms of pay equity, being able to just like build financial wealth, in particular for families of color, where we're trying to, and you can't do these things and you don't have these opportunities. And I also think that one of the biggest things people can do is just have conversations with folks about what it was like also before these things. And sharing those stories. Unfortunately, Prop 16 is polling really terribly right now. We're not exactly sure why. The only folks that are really in opposition are honestly the same people who continue to make it really difficult for this to come past the state legislature again. A lot of Asian American activist groups coming in from one side and making it really difficult. And right now, I think there's just more people who probably need to know about it. And the words affirmative action have a really sour meaning for some reason for folks. Which is something we need to get past, because ultimately what we need to be looking at is the data and the details of how much this could be helpful for the communities who really need it.
I'm definitely voting yes on 16. So please do it. It also feels to me that it's equity. That is equity for a lot of folks that are not starting on the same on the same starting line.
Right.
So for sure, I'm definitely voting yes on 16. Justine, I know that you have to go. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything you want to say about 16?
Yeah. I just want to say yes on 16. Stonewall Democratic Club, LA County Democratic Party, yes on it, are both yes on 16. I don't understand sort of the bad polling, and I hope we figure that out. I mean, we're already voting, but I really urge folks to just consider that this isn't some kind of quota system. It's not some kind of unfair system, but it is allowing institutions to take it into account.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing for us. And I think it's necessary to roll back to pre-209. And before I go, I just want to touch base on one thing super quick that I think there's a lot of confusion around and a lot of money in, and that's Prop 22. And I can't leave without, touching base on that. I am no on 22. I urge a no vote on 22. It is absurd.
We're voting no on 22.
It is absurd. And I think the biggest thing of confusion I hear in Democratic spaces, are folks who believe this is some kind of repeal of AB5. It is not. We can talk about problems with AB5 all day. I'm a consultant and, independent contractor. Years ago, I tried driving for Uber and Lyft and stuff. I get it. I get the AB5 arguments. This is not what that is. This is specifically a carve out for Uber, Lyft, to not be held accountable and to continue, I would say even permanently, have their folks be classified as independent contractors, because it has, I don't think enough people are talking about, it has a 7/8 requirement to overturn it. I think that alone isn't I don't even get how that's legal in a proposition. But I think it's really absurd that that's a part of it. And like I said, I think there are arguments to be had about what workforces look like and what how the state should adapt to independent contractors. But this is simply a carve out for these app delivery, these ride sharing and delivery apps to treat their workers as independent contractors and avoid the cost of managing that workforce and providing a safety net for that workforce.
Would this affect also folks, I mean, everybody, right? Because I think someone on my Twitter contacted me about this, and they're in the entertainment industry. So they're saying, we're writers, this wouldn't affect them.
No, it is very specific to app drivers. So this is not, but it's been, I hear it in every space. They're like, but AB5 has been bad for me. And I'm like,
AB5, yes.
About that. So I hope people vote no. Now that I have the first TV I've had in years, because I want to watch like some stuff, they are bombarding the airwaves with Yes on 22 commercials. I see like, it'll be one commercial break and I'll get like 3 commercials of Yes on 22.
So we're voting no on 22.
No on 22. No on 22. It really is specifically a carve out for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. Hey, I'm a consumer. I have DoorDash and Postmates on my phone. I get it. The reality is, and this is the hard part. This is like the real, let's keep it 100 part is some of the prices might need to go up. We're a little spoiled and we want to keep getting, on demand, iced lattes, on demand, DoorDash on a regular basis. I'm all for, from an ethical standpoint, hey, treat them as employees. If DoorDash has to add an additional fee, if Uber, I don't think it's a good argument to say it might be a little bit more expensive to treat them like give them the treatment and the pay they deserve. And that's just where I'm at. Yeah.
I love it, Justine. Thank you so much for stopping by. So we're voting no on 22nd.
No,
on 22.
No on 22. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you, Molly. Thank you for having me out. And yeah, bye.
We love you.
Nice to meet you, Justine.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. He has to go pick up I think his kid, just like you, Molly. Oh, I love it. Everybody's here. Yay.
He's here for the party, that's for sure.
Okay, well, let's just go over these other measures quickly. We're almost done. So I got measures.
Buddy, hey, buddy, King, you got to go that way because they can hear you on here. Go talk to Daddy, okay? I'll deal with you. Okay, well, go back that way anyways. I'll talk to you in 10 minutes.
Unless you want to fill out the ballots with us. We're totally down to hear your opinions about it.
I don't know. He got a lot of opinions. I mean, they're pretty good ones, but,
Okay, so measure 17, we're voting yes on 17,
yes.
Which is restore the votes for folks that have been in parole or in cassette. These people need to vote. They need to vote for sure.
Right.
So we're doing yes on 17. Now, what about measure 18, which amends Californian Constitution to permit 17-year-olds to vote in primaries? Fuck yes.
Exactly. Sure. Yeah. No,
sure,
it's another
need to. They can drive. They can vote.
Right. It's a great measure, and I think it allows them to also be able to vote in special elections leading up to that same year. As long as they'll be 18 and voting in that general, then they can also vote in the special elections leading up to it.
Absolutely. I mean,
absolutely.
I just think that, again, if we can incarcerate young people, they can vote. If they can drive, they can vote. If they pay taxes, they can vote. So that's where I'm at. So yes on 18 too. Now, state measure 19, change certain property tax rules, legislative constitution amendment. Allows homeowners who are over 55, so this is for my seniors, disabled or wildfire disaster victims to transfer primary residence tax base to replacement residence. So it's like a transfer of taxes. Establishing fire protection service funds too. Go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, so this one is just kind of like written very interestingly. And it's like
I love to do
kind of kind of hard to understand, right? And it's like the language is important that we're going to that we want to pay attention to around this as well. I want to bring up my little 18 sheet. But yeah, we are a no on Prop 18. And let's see here. Excuse me? 19? I'm sorry, on 19. I'm sorry. Yes, we are a no on 19. My bad. That's confusing, isn't it? So yeah, no, we're
go ahead. No, sorry, go ahead. I was just reading the measure.
Oh no, go ahead, please do.
It just says impact, fiscal impact. Local governments could gain tens of millions of dollars of property tax revenue per year, probably growing over time to a few $100 million per year. Schools could receive similar property tax gain. I don't know if anybody in the audience want to chime in on measure 19, but you guys are leaning on no.
Yeah, we're going no. I mean, ultimately, we're saying this is the long story short is that realtor associations have put in like $36 million in support of Prop 19. The whole goal is that people aren't buying houses like they used to, and so they're not making as much money as they used to, and they want to make more money. So if they can cut a loop for people to potentially think they can bring these over, or like set up a new transfer of how the taxes can apply, we're a no.
Wow. Okay. That's so good to know. It's so important to know who's behind these measures too, guys, because that will tell you how they vote. Okay. So now we got measure 20, which restricts parole for certain offenders currently considered to be nonviolent. So this is for nonviolent offenders. Authorizes felony sentences for certain offenses currently treated only as misdemeanors. So where are you guys on measure 20?
So we're a no on Prop 20. So Prop 20, if passed, Prop 20 would increase penalties, like you said, for low-level offenses, would create state database that collects DNA samples from persons convicted of specified misdemeanors used in cold cases, repealing parts from Props 47 and 57. I think those are huge pieces to put on here, and that's the goal. They're trying to repeal parts of Props 47 and 57. Prop 20 would reclassify theft. Why voting on Prop 22 no on Prop 20 matters. It's a dangerous proposition basically put forth by one of our Hall of Shamers who I personally really dislike, Assemblymember Jim Cooper up in Elk Grove. He is he's a former sheriff and somebody who's pretty much just running things for the moderate Dems in Sacramento. The people who are behind this are all of the same police protective leagues, etc. That's who's putting this on. They're highly financing it.
Prop 20.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is a no on 20.
Right.
Okay.
Right. They're basically trying to say criminals are getting away with more violent crimes, and this is false. Public Policy Institutes of California found that Props 47, which Prop 20 attempts to roll back, not only decreased racial disparities in bookings and arrests, but it also found that violent crimes did not increase after it was passed. So
beautiful.
No
okay,
on 20.
Got it. Moving on, measure 21 expands local government's authority to enact rent control. Yes, please. To enact rent control on residential property in initiative statute. So, again, allows local government to establish rent control on residential properties over 15-year-old. Local limits on rate increase might differ from statewide limits. I kind of like this because I feel like local control can be really great, and especially now that we see more homelessness and like with COVID, people not able to pay the rent. Yes, on 21.
Yes, we're very much yes on 21. Absolutely. And interesting to point out, one of the top funders of Prop 21 is actually the AIDS Healthcare Foundation and its Housing Advocacy Division for Housing as a Human Right.
Huge health advocates. We went over 22 already, but if you missed it, say no to 22.
No. Yeah, no on 22. Don't believe those emails they're sending you. Don't believe the commercials that are up on TV. Uber, Lyft, and Postmates wrote this specifically because they were mad and it's only for them. So no on 22.
We got 3 more to go. So measure 23, establish state requirements for kidney dialysis clinics. Requires on-site medical professionals. Dialysis. This is definitely out of my league. I need to better be educated. So whoever out there that is an advocate on this issue, please holla at me and educate me. Moving forward, I definitely want to learn more. But basically requires physicians, nurse practitioner, or physician assistants on site during dialysis treatments. Prohibits clinics from reducing services without state approval. Prohibits clinics from refusing to treat patients based on payment source. I said yes.
Yeah, so we're a yes on this, and I mean this one feels very similar to what happened in the midterms. Again, around the dialysis clinics,
Yeah.
and I think again it's super important to remember who's funding or not funding these things or funding against these. And so anytime you see DaVita in the bottom of a disclaimer on a political ad, DaVita owns so many dialysis clinics, and they do not want to have to be held to the standards that would actually keep their patients safer. So they are not interested in this. And yeah, this is definitely a yes on Prop 23.
Okay, amazing. Now, it's State Measure 24 amends consumer privacy laws. Permits consumers to prevent businesses from sharing personal information. Yes, please. Correct inaccurate personal information and limit businesses' use of sensitive personal information, including precise geolocation, race, ethnicity, and health information. Establishes California Privacy Protection Agency. I'm so tired of these random calls. I don't know how they get my number, and they just call me all the time. Whoever presidential candidate is running on that campaign, I will do anything in my power to get you elected. So I feel like I am voting yes on Measure 24. What are you guys?
So we are actually a no on 24. And so I'll say why voting no matters. So Prop 24 would erode a consumer's request to delete their data and would completely end CCPA protection of biometric information. California could maintain net neutrality so that people do not have to pay for companies to safeguard their personal information. Prop 24 would disproportionately affect working people and families of color, and the legislative analyst estimates that Prop 24 will actually cost $10 million annually to create a new state agency that oversees and enforces more stringent consumer privacy laws with an unknown impact on state and local tax revenues.
So it's actually completely the opposite to what I understood I was reading.
They do this on purpose, right?
God.
It's all on purpose. So some misinformation about it is that it will better safeguard consumers' information. And this is false because it will do this only for consumers who are financially able to pay for better protections. Additionally, Prop 24 will end CCPA protection of biometric information. So,
wow, guys, this is amazing. Okay, this is when we need Congress to step in. So we say no on Measure 24.
No on 24.
It's a tap out. It's a bunch of words. Don't believe the hype.
Right.
Do not
and
believe the hype.
The major funder for that one is he's a real estate developer in San Francisco, donated the majority of the funds by himself, $4.892 million.
Wow, people out there, it's incredible to see how much money there is out there for these campaigns and how many people are living in our streets and sleeping in our streets tonight. Something to think about, y'all. Okay, last but not least, Measure 25 is a referendum on law that replaced money bail with system based on public safety and flight risk. A yes votes approves and a no votes rejects. Law replacing money bail with system based on public safety and flying risk.
So this one is really difficult. It's probably been the most contentious one that the progressive community has kind of been discussing this year. And it's because a lot of us worked on SB 10, which was to end cash bail in California a couple of years ago. Some people may well, what happened at the last minute is that in order for it to go through with Governor Brown, they watered it down pretty bad and made some decisions that folks were not happy with. A lot of people pulled out at the last minute. It's still passed. However, like you said, this is a referendum. There's concerns about how things will be dealt with now that if cash bail is taken out of the process. And the goal is ultimately to make sure that this isn't like, we don't give discretion back to probation officers and to judges and folks who should not be making the decision on if somebody is a flight risk or not, because we see that those numbers are still disproportionately hurting Black and brown people. However, this is probably one of the only chances we will have to fully end cash bail in California and be one of the only states that's going to be able to do it. I think that, the folks who pushed this through had to work really hard. Money bail industry in Sacramento is crazy. Like if we talk about police money, we need to talk about the bail industry as well. And this would get rid of one of those like main devils that we continue to deal with and trying to get things done. This would be a huge win. That being said, there are still things that we need to do in the assembly in the legislature over the next year to make sure that these are implemented in a way that will not hurt Black and brown folks more cognitively. But we are, yes, on Prop 25. You will see difference of opinion on that one.
I was also leaning on yes on 24. And, just because you vote one time and because you are on the let's get this crazy guy out of the White Office campaign, doesn't mean that you're not going to get involved. We need everyone to get involved. We need everyone to understand who their local electeds are and their state representatives, and not just their Congress people, because that's the sexy and the presidentials are so exciting. There's so much excitement and there's so much power and there's so much money in local elections. And we need all of you guys to get involved, whether you care about the environment, whether you care about justice, racial justice issues, women's rights issues, whether you care about better laws, privacy, healthcare. We need you to get involved. We definitely need you. This is not the last time that I want to hear people say, I'm going to vote and I'm excited to vote. So, of course, lastly, we have our presidential, and I'm, of course, voting for Joseph Biden, as they like to write it on the ballot. So if you're looking for Joe, you're not going to find him, but you will find Joseph Biden and Kamala Harris. And
that's a good point. It's a very good point. Joe or Joseph?
Exactly. Don't look
not
for
Trump.
Joe, you're not going to find him.
Not Trump, not Kanye West.
Oh,
let's go, Joe.
Dude, I just can't even believe that Kanye was here. This has got to be hilarious.
So
don't vote
2020.
For Kanye West. No offenses to him and to his wife.
I mean, I love my country more than I love them, so I'd rather offend them than the rest of these people. Don't vote for him. Vote for Joe.
Vote for Joseph. Vote for Joseph or for Kamala. Molly, it's been such a delight having you. Thank you so much for partnering up with me to do this.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I'm sorry I was late. This was great.
No, you were at the perfect time. Thank you to the Courage Campaign. Please follow them. Please give them love. They do so many wonderful things. They're running some exciting things also all around in California. So let me know when I can be helpful. Anytime I can be helpful, I'm here for you.
Yes. Thank you, Ara.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good night, okay? Get some rest.
Too. Thank you. Bye-bye. So that was it, y'all. We just went over our ballot. So now you can drop it off. There is a bunch of places where you can actually drop off your ballot in official ballot place. You can also send it by mail, or you can also go and vote yourself, or you can go and drop it off where you are supposed to vote. Whatever you decide to do, vote now, vote early. We need you to vote more than ever. We need you to vote, and we need you to get involved. And if you're looking for ways on how to get involved, you can always reach out to me. I'm a founder of Ready to Help Mutual Aid. I see some of the mutual aid friends here, folks that are ready to help. We're doing a computer drive right now. 50,000 of our most vulnerable students in Los Angeles don't have computers, don't have Wi-Fi to be able to conduct their e-learning. So if you have an old computer, consider donating it to us. You can always reach out to me. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, and I see you next Wednesday with more. Talk to you soon. Bye.